everything is on a routine in prison.
We just need to treat everyone with kindness.
Yeah. Welcome to the Living Louder podcast. I have one of my favorite people, Sage Bernson, and you are going to love her. There's so many amazing things about Sage.
Stop.
Yeah, no, there are. There's so many amazing things about Sage. Some of the things that are unusual, I don't know if it's unusual, but Sage actually came with her mother, who's one of my best friends, to visit me in federal prison.
It was so fun.
So fun?
Fun.
But what's kind of cool too, so through the whole federal investigation, we lived in a neighborhood that Sage and her mother lived and her family lived in. In fact, you and Jackson, my son, who's going to also be on the podcast, were kind of like,
guys, we had crushes on each other. I mean, I had a crush on him. I can't speak for him, I guess, but we'd ride around on the little dirt bike together. It was fun. Yeah, around the neighborhood. It was super fun.
Yeah. So I want to jump in, like, you've had some of your own hard experiences, and we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the losses and things that you've been through. But how would you describe your childhood?
My childhood was awesome. It was honestly so magical. I lived in kind of a different family, not different, but the roles were switched a little bit from the regular church standards, I guess.
Or just in general, your mom was like the provider, your dad was more the stay-home guy, right?
Yes, exactly. And it was different for sure, but I grew up with a nanny that raised me a little bit till I went to first grade. My mom always worked, but because of that, she was able to provide us, they were able to provide us such amazing experiences. Right. Like one thing I want to take to my future family from my childhood is just the thing, like we had stuff and we had such great stuff, but like we had such good memories and we traveled together, and all of those magical memories just like made me love culture and just traveling and experiencing new things so much more, and just made me grateful for what I have. Yeah.
One of the things that I love about your mother is, even though your mother, she's a hard worker, and your dad, like together, they had this, provided a great life for you. And financially, your mom has had a lot of success, but she's not caught up on money. Your mom is not like, she doesn't buy new clothes. She doesn't drive a fancy car. Never. People are a lot more important to your mom than money, and experiences are a lot more important to your mom than money.
Yes.
So
I don't know how to say this, but my dad used to always say, my mom is the cheapest millionaire ever or something. He would always be like, she just doesn't buy new things for herself ever.
No, she doesn't.
And maybe that's why she's been able to be so blessed. So.
Yeah. And she borrows my clothes all the time.
Yes, she's like, this is Portia's shirt. I'm like, cute. Super cute.
I love your mom. So I had some pretty rough years during your childhood, and you probably didn't know all of it. Your mom was very supportive of our family and supportive of me. When you and Jackson, so we're both members of the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yes. And you guys were both baptized on the same day.
On his birthday. I really remember January 31st. I'll never forget his birthday, because baptism day was awesome. So, and then as the investigation progressed, you probably, I would say most of the neighbors. Wait, it was going on during our baptism?
No, well, in general. So see, that's interesting. You didn't really know.
Yeah, I don't know timeline very well.
Okay, so I was under federal investigation the whole time I lived in that ward. Like so we lived in that neighborhood, and it was just like this long, like,
Kitty!
He really just showed.
Hi!
Okay. All right, Cat.
We love Kitty.
Yeah.
Come here, baby.
All right. So you're like, never mind.
We love Kitty, but
maybe she should, not be on the table.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll let her if she shows up again.
No, yeah, we will.
So, but I was under federal investigation pretty much the whole time we lived in that neighborhood. So for about 5-10 years, it just drug on and on. My kids grew up with that. So your mom did a pretty good job then of kind of not talking that much about it.
Well, I have a question for you. How much did you let your kids know at that time, in that like time period? Were you pretty open with them, or did they know something was kind of happening, or?
It's a really good question. So I think my kids grew up hearing about it, which makes me sad. And I think that they, especially Sadie, she just kind of grew up in denial because I always said, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And then in the end, the day that I was sentenced and went to prison, I remember her looking at me and saying, is Dad going to go to prison too? And I said, no, Sadie. And she said, but I don't believe you anymore. You said you weren't going to go and you're going. And it was like, I didn't handle it very well. I was in a really weak spot. I was struggling. And I just wish that first of all, the right way to handle it probably would have been upfront to just say, okay, how can I make it right? I made these mistakes. How can I make it right? Yeah. Instead, I was so scared. I was scared of all of it. And I was mad and I thought it wasn't fair. And my kids grew up in that environment. And so we were fortunate that we had neighbors and good friends and people that were supportive. But it was a hard time for my kids. Hard because I was living in denial about it. Yeah. It's really hard to build something based on denial.
Yeah. I also think it's hard to like navigate because it's like, how much do I tell my kids, like, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't want to worry them now.
It's true.
But then that did kind of bite you in the butt a little bit in hindsight, I guess.
Yeah. But I think what I regret maybe even the very most was when I was sentenced, I was so brokenhearted that I didn't sit down with my kids and say, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What can we do as a family? Like it was just survival, you know?
Yeah.
And I just, looking back, I can see all the things I could have done different. But what I am grateful for is a community that showed up for us.
Yeah.
Like even in my weakest state, I remember the day that I was sentenced, I was on the news. You probably didn't know again. You're a teenager. You were like 14 at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You and Jackson, because you're the same age.
Yeah. Because then we went to Lake Powell after with them. Yeah. I think that was around.
So what happened was I was sentenced. That night I was on the 10 o'clock news. I got 8 weeks to say goodbye to my family. Your mother showed up at our door. Nobody else dared. They didn't know what to say, right? They're like, what do we say to her? Yeah, what do we say? Well, I think it's just more than anything, it was like people wanted to support us, but they didn't know how. They didn't want to make us uncomfortable. Yeah. A couple of things happened. Your mom showed up, knocks on the door. I open it and she goes, oh my gosh, I'm just here to cry with you. Is there anything I can do?
Oh.
Nobody, you know what I mean? And she came in and CJ goes, look, mom's on the news. Your mom's like, oh, okay. Yeah, it was hard.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So that was hard. And then your mom said, what can I do to support you? And I said, will you please take care of my family when I'm gone? And your mom was so true to that. Like you took our whole family on vacation. I went to prison and you guys went on vacation.
We're like, bye, Portia. We'll go to Lake Powell. No, that was actually one of the funnest trips ever. Like one of my favorite Lake Powell trips. It was so fun. Everyone was there.
Okay. Sweet.
It was so fun. Oh my. I love Kitty. I feel like this cat's name has changed like 5 times now.
It started out as Coco.
Coco.
No,
that was the last cat. My bad.
All right,
yeah, no, but it was, I feel like at that time I didn't really know what was going on. I just like woke up one day and it's like Portia went to prison.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I didn't even know anything was going on. I just knew Maggie loved CJ.
Yeah.
My dog loved her youngest daughter.
She would come up and sleep in the crib with CJ.
Yes, like crawl into the crib. Like we're like, where's Maggie? And we're like, probably with CJ. You know, it's so funny.
And CJ was 7 when I went to prison. So she was little. And I remember getting pictures from Lake Powell and you guys all just had her. You just were so kind to my family. And
well, they're easy to love. They're such good people. So they're so sweet. And me and Sadie got to play volleyball for a little bit together too.
Right.
Yeah, that was also fun.
So I went to prison. My family was still there. You kind of still were hanging out with Jackson, and Jackson's going to be on the podcast. Did Jackson ever talk about it? Was he ever open about it? Like, was it anything, like, how did you guys deal with that?
I remember when you would call, it was like, oh, mom's calling today, or mom gets to call back. But I feel like he was very guarded with that. I mean, he was closed off. I feel like a little bit about that. And it's hard to bring up. Like you said, it's like, how do I bring this up with this guy? But also like, I don't want to pressure him into talking about it. And I just remember one time I was at your guys' house when you called, and I remember I was even nervous, like talk to you kind of. It was weird. I don't know why. 'Cause now I'm like, we're best friends, but I was like, oh, like, it was just that awkward, like, oh, where do I fit in this? Like, does she even remember me? You know, like little things like that where it's like, You're like a celebrity. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, so
You're on the
infamous.
TV. No, but I don't remember and I have a horrible memory too. So we probably did talk a little bit, but not very much. I would say, but maybe he'll remember more.
Yeah. So it was interesting when I got to prison. I think a lot of people said they would visit and wanted to visit, but it's not an easy process.
Oh my gosh.
To come to federal prison, right? And you had never been to federal prison before.
I had never been. It was exciting. We got to go because there's a tournament by the prison you were at.
In Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah. And so I had a volleyball tournament, and for like, had like 5 people going that were going to come with us.
Right. And
but only 3 got like
approval.
okayed, right?
Right.
Which is so weird. Anyway, but we got there a little early, I think, and they're like, no open-toed shoes. I always suck at saying that. And then underwired bras.
Right.
And so we had to go to Walmart really fast and like get some clothing. But I remember I was like, am I going to, like, I was going to prison, but I'm like,
Somebody
I feel
gonna shake me?
I know, I was like, it was a little scary. Like, I think they even patted us down and like everything. And I was like, Mom. She's like, it's okay, honey. I'm like, okay.
I have a picture of that I should include because it's, you guys brought so much light in when you came in, and still love the fact that your mom went to all the trouble to make that happen. And so you guys came out to visit, and I just remember you've always been this amazing source of light and goodness. And I felt that. And when I came home, your mom and I were in touch, and then your dad got sick and your dad passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time too, Chad ended up losing his job, and we ended up moving over here to live with your family, with your mom at the time. And then you were in college and graduated college and came back, and I got to go for walks with you and spend time with you. What I feel like the way that you have chosen to handle the loss of your dad, because you're pretty young to lose your dad, is such an example of your strength and light. Like, you have just honored him and loved him and chosen how to make him a part of your life, even though he's gone. What's that been like for you?
Thanks, Portia. That's really sweet of you to say. It's been tough. Like, losing your dad at 21 is hard. And especially like before you're married and you're doing all the small, like big things in your life, it's just hard to lose him so young. But I'm just so grateful that I have the memories that I do have with him. And I'm so grateful that I had the childhood that I had. And Kitty.
I know. You're just the cutest thing.
And
Yeah.
but it was hard. And honestly, I wasn't truly converted to Christ when he did pass away. And I knew that he died. Like, when people would call me, one of his best friends, he was like, he just went to the temple. He just went to the temple, like literally right before he went to the hospital. And I just remember my dad died knowing that this church was true.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a big part of like my conversion a little bit, but just in like the heartache, and such heartache. I went back to college and I didn't know like really how to breathe again. Like, I was just so numb to everything. It was so weird. And I met a guy, and he wasn't a member of the church, and we helped each other a lot because he was going through a lot of heartache too. But I was able to be able to get converted to Christ again because of him, because I went through the missionary lessons again with him. And I was like, who wouldn't want to be part of this church? Like, it is so amazing. And I saw it through new eyes. And honestly, I don't know how I could have gone through the death of my father without Christ.
Yeah.
He's such a big part of my life. And I'm so grateful for him because of that, I can do anything, honestly. Like, because I have Christ by my side and God protecting me, I could do anything. And losing my father, like, that used to be one of my biggest fears, is like losing somebody that I loved really suddenly. And I like overcame it. Like, not really, but it's still sad. But because of what this church teaches me, I know that I'll be able to live with my dad again. And I know he's there every step of the way, helping me throughout life. And when I have hard times and I get scared, I'm like, I know dad will protect me in ways that he couldn't hear. So
You're amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Just to give some context too. So a lot of the listeners and people that follow know a little bit. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so are you.
Yes.
And if you grew up in Utah and you're a member of the church, there's a lot of other people here that are also members of the church. So you just kind of grow up and there's a lot of social activities, and we have leaders that help support the youth. You kind of grow up with all this support, but then you went off and you went to college and you were kind of the only one, which is exactly what happened to me in prison. I was like the only member, and actually my faith deepened because then I got around people of all different faiths, and I realized like we are connected in a deeper way than religion.
Yes.
Like there is this deep connection that we share, this soul connection. And it helped me, like my faith grew when I got out of Utah and got in a place with Catholics and every other form of religion. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much goodness in all different walks of life. So what was it like for you to go to college and be away from Utah? All of a sudden you're on your own playing volleyball in college. Where'd you go? You went to West?
I went to Wyoming first for 2 years. And honestly there, I think I was just trying to figure out who I was.
Sure.
Like my identity, we all go through that little faith crisis. Like, who am I as a person? I went through some really, really hard times in Wyoming, which is weird because my dad died when I moved to West Virginia. But Wyoming, I was so sad. I don't know why. I was just like, never.
I won't tell Chad that. He loves Wyoming.
I know. No, I like Wyoming too.
It was just that time in your life, right?
Just the time in my life.
And sometimes you have to go through that in order to appreciate the good.
Oh, for sure. And I'm so grateful I went through that. But then I moved to West Virginia, and that's where, because I went to Wyoming with my friends. So I still had the foundation, like my friends grew up members of the church, and like we still had that. But in West Virginia, literally is where I just was the only member. And it was the best thing ever. Like seriously, I got to redefine who I was. I got to show people who members of the church are. And what I learned is that we're not much different from other religions. Like I always grew up being like, you're so weird. Like you're so much weirder than everybody else. And like I told my friends that, my teammates, this is TMI, but yeah, never mind. I'm not going to say that part, but they were just like, you are so cool. Cause like, I just lived differently than them. And they never shamed
use drugs.
me.
You didn't.
They never shamed me. They just like loved me unconditionally. And I appreciated that so much. And when I'd have like biblical talks with people, I was like, we don't believe very much, like very differently. Like they believed not to have sex before marriage too. They were taught that. And so it's just crazy because I figured out that I'm not that much different, but I just have more tools that I think help me understand life a little bit better in certain ways. So it was awesome though. I loved being the only member, honestly. And I would get all the time too. Like people would be like, wow, you just are always smiling. Why are you so happy? And they just didn't realize it, but it was just such a testimony to me that the light of Christ really does shine through. Certain, like not certain people, but just like at certain times and just, it's awesome.
Yeah. I love that about you. You have so much light and are willing to share it. And so you went through this process. You were in West Virginia. Your dad passed away. And then I remember when you came home and you were trying to kind of figure some things out because you were in a relationship with somebody that you really liked. He wasn't a member, and there were just things that it didn't work out. What I really admired in you was you were like, I am going to see the best in him no matter what. Like I am not leaving on bad terms. That's something that you've chosen to do with people in your life. Like see the best in him, even if it hurts. And you were able to kind of move forward, and now you're with like the cutest guy ever.
Literally the best. He's
right in the studio.
I know. He's so handsome.
Yeah.
He's literally the best. And that's the thing is you have to go through the rough. Like I honestly, when me and my
cat. The cat is now she's taking over the podcast.
She just loves it. It's okay. Featuring Coco. But you have to go through the hurt. And something that I related, that I like thought about when you were telling me about me as a child and what you were going through and how you were saying I didn't really handle it well with my children. And like, we think the same thing. There's things that happened with my dad that we were like, oh, we could have handled that better. But this is the first time that we're both going through that.
Right.
Like nobody's told us how to go to prison.
Nobody gave me the rule book.
Which is so mean. Like, come on.
Everyone should get that when they,
what to do when your dad dies at 21. Like nobody helps you. It's just like we're all navigating through this life and we're going to mess up sometimes. And that's the great thing about the atonement and Christ is like, we can be forgiven because of our mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, so sometimes we need to go through the suck.
Yeah.
And honestly, it reminds me of a picture of a little girl holding a little fat flower to Christ. And he has a big bouquet behind his back. And sometimes we think, we're like, God, can you please give me this? This is what I need. This is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But he just has such an amazing, better plan for us. And that's what I think of when I think of my ex-boyfriend and my current boyfriend. Like he was great and I thought I wanted him so bad. But now I just see life with my current boyfriend and I'm like, I'm so grateful that I get to be in this life and like God knew what I needed.
Yeah.
And not saying that ex-boyfriend was bad at all. He wasn't,
No,
but
he's a
it's
nice
just
guy.
like, it's just what I needed in my life. And luckily, like,
and maybe you appreciate even more what you have because of that experience.
yes,
I know I do.
exactly.
Like I appreciate things in a completely different way.
Yes.
I appreciate it. And I do things better now that I know better.
Yeah.
The way I communicate with my kids is different. I don't let, something bad happen and not discuss it and not listen to how they're feeling. I'm more open because of my experiences.
Which is so great. And like, that just goes to show how much and how lucky we are that we get to grow in this life and that we get to experience new things and learn new things. And like, I remember you told me like, sometimes you have to go through a lot of the same trial
until you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, God's like kind of seeing how you're going to handle it. And like, you're such a different person so you may have same trials like with your kids, maybe as you did back then, but like now God's seeing how you're such a different person and you're going to handle it so much different. Yeah. And I remember when you said that to me and I was like, that's so true. And I like appreciated that, like hearing that from you. And you're just so awesome too. Like, I hope you know that. And all of the viewers know obviously that she's so awesome and that you really have owned your conviction. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, we just need to know in life, like, this is what we did. This is what happened. Like, and this is how I'm going to make up for it, or this is how I'm going to change. Yeah. And you've done that. You've done such an amazing job. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to be by your side, especially like coming home.
Hi, kitty.
Hey, little kitty. Maybe I'll just hold her. Oh,
yeah, but she just wants to play.
She just wants to play. But you're just amazing.
Thanks,
and
Sage.
Your viewers already know that, obviously, because they're watching this. But
they just love the cat.
I know. They're like, I'm just seeing how many times the cat pops in.
She's in rare form. She likes you because she stayed with Sage for about a week.
Yeah.
So she knows
that
Sage.
was fun.
That's why.
I know. Why does Junie and Coco not get along anymore? Come on. I also have a cat.
Poor cat people.
Junie plug right there. Anyway.
So I have a question for you. What questions do you want to ask me about prison?
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like I get all the answers on TikTok when I watch your TikToks. But the latest one that I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't really think about that, I think was the bathroom one.
Oh yeah. So people, those are things that like we take for granted out here, right? That are really easy. Like we have privacy when we go to the restroom. Yeah, not in prison. And every time you go somewhere new, you have to figure out like how to navigate that. So for me, like I like my privacy. Mm-hmm. And when I got to the prison in Dublin, it was one of my first questions. I'm like, so how do we navigate the whole using the bathroom?
So yeah, valid question.
And we do. Like you just have a little sign, you put up a piece of paper. Everything is on a routine in prison. Mm-hmm. Like if you really want to do prison time the right way, which everybody should learn how to do, right?
Yes, just in case.
It's living in a very small community. And so like we lived in a room, 3 of us, the size of a closet. It's really small.
Oh.
And in order to,
We love you.
Bye.
We love you, baby.
She'll be back. So you really, like, I would get up at 5. The next person would get up at 5:15. The next person at 5:30. So that because only one person can stand in the cell at a time. So you get up, you take your clothes, and you go out and shower. The next person gets up, and then when they come in, they leave. Like you can't all really even stand in there. It's so tiny.
How do you change? Just hit everything.
Well, one person could change in there at a time, but I a lot of times changed in the shower. Like I take my stuff to the shower, and then I would shower, and then you'd have your clothes kind of hanging on a thing. And then
do they give you stalls at least, or is it just open shower?
No, it's stalls. Like there's curtains and things. So
Oh, that's nice. That was going to be my next question.
No. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. They are pretty good about giving you some privacy. I think that whole thing of open showers and stuff, maybe men are that way, but not with women. We have privacy.
Yeah.
So.
I know we've talked a little bit about prison being like the movies.
Yeah.
And maybe you've said that a lot on your TikTok or on the podcast, but it's just nothing
it's
like
not
the
like
movies.
the movies. And it when I watch the movies, I get frustrated because I feel like they portray them as like so hardcore. I'm like, geez, I got to prison and people were right away asking me what I needed, how they could support me. It's kind of silly. Like there's definitely times where people just act foolish and it's entertaining.
Yeah.
You're just like, that just
Get
happened.
some popcorn. That's just LaQuisha again. I'm just kidding. That was taking
No, but for real, like, and there's a lot of nicknames in prison. So there's so many people in prison that I could give you a whole list. There's like 5 shorties, 5 too talls.
2 talls.
There's lots of nicknames.
What would my nickname be in prison?
That's a really good, well, something, you definitely could be like Sunny or Sunshine. Something.
Oh,
like
really?
I
thought I was going to be too tall.
You are tall. How tall are you? You're almost 6 foot.
Almost, yeah. Almost.
You could be too tall.
Everyone's like, oh.
But probably they just say that tall white girl.
Yeah.
That's like, people get mad because I call people like a white girl or a black guy, but that's how everybody referred to each other in prison. Like there's no negative to it at all.
Yeah.
So like the officer would come up and say, hey, did you see that white guy? That officer, and I go, or officer so-and-so, I don't know him. He's like, he's the white guy. Oh, okay.
You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because that cuts it down, right?
Yeah.
Like that narrows the pool.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, like nothing's politically correct in prison. Nobody's like trying to be rude.
That's actually kind of nice.
The other thing that's weird is like prison's a little bit more respectful. Like if you walk in front of someone, you're going to say, excuse me.
Oh.
Like people are, because there's such small space, like, excuse me, sorry. Like there's just a little bit more respect, at least at the higher security prisons, because you need to act right or you could get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. You're like, one of my favorite things from your book that I still say, and you're going to have to remind me, plug for Living Louder. Go buy the book. It's so great. Read it.
Sage's favorite book.
It's my favorite book. Yeah. I took it. Did you know? At Young Moments, everyone had to bring their favorite book that they read that year. And I loved the book. So I brought the book and I was like, everyone go read this. It's so good. Yeah, basically. All the way in West Virginia. So hopefully they're reading it out there. But one of my favorites is, I think she was an older lady and you were about to leave and she just goes, louder, remember, like God is good. Or you said God is good. And she was like, all the time. And I love that because God is good and we just end it. But it literally is all the time. And I say that all the time. Like people will be like, God is good. And I'm like, all the time. So I've tried to take that into my own life and just creating that. And that's what your book does. It shows us the inside of prison that's not the scary Hollywood prison that everyone thinks that's how prison is. But you've really showed us there's human beings in there that are actually really great. And I don't know if you guys know, I got to hang out with some of Portia's friends and it's a different crowd.
I have the coolest friends ever.
You have the coolest friends and I love them. And they all have such great stories.
Yeah, they do.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. When Michael went and spoke to those people, those young men, I just remember being looking around and I'm like, oh, wow.
Everyone's covered in tattoos all over their faces.
Different. And then I got to talk to them after. Kindest people ever. And I think that's just, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
There's so much more chapters, so much depth in that book. And we just need to treat everyone with kindness.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me. This is so the best. And I love that she's doing this. I love it.
Sage, thank you again.
Bye, loves.